Guys, it's Captain Frugal reporting for duty for another top and bottom 3 comics of the week for the week of August 9th, 2022. Alright guys, this week I read 10 comic books. If you're not familiar with this video segment, what it is based on my view of the top 3 and bottom 3 comics that I read this week. Now, I don't have time to read everything, but I read what I have time to and to get these out because, well, money's limited as well as time, and time is money. So with that said, let's dive into these. I think today I'm going to start with the bottom 3. Now, the ones I pick might not be on your list, and that's okay. You're allowed to have a different opinion, okay? There's no reason to be mad at each other, but you can always voice what your top and bottom 3 were and why you disagree. That's perfectly fine. So we're going with the bottom. My bottom number 1, or number 3, I should say, the first one, because I'm going to go up to the worst. So anyway, my first one was Jane Foster in the Mighty Thor, number 3 of 5. You can hear my papers rattling in my notes. Number 3 of 5, I gave it a 7.01 out of 10. And I'm going to tell you, 3 out of 5, I think a 5 was more than enough for this series. It's just not been that great. It's been pretty bland. The art was absolutely piss poor in this one. It was just, it lacked a lot of detail. It just wasn't good. And this issue did have a lot of action. Don't get me wrong. There had a lot of action. But overall, the story is just moving forward slow. It's just not very interesting to me, but maybe your thoughts are different. So that's my first one in the bottom list, if you will. The next one, number 2 on the bottom. This one surprised me because this one's been pretty good. And even though this isn't necessarily terrible, it was Blood Syndicate number 4. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I thought the art was just not as strong as it has been in the past. The last few issues were much, much better art-wise. The story is okay, but just like I mentioned with the art, the story just didn't resonate as well. It didn't really progress much in the story. I think what I liked about the other issues more, it gave more detail into the characters, and this one really didn't do that, so it didn't get anything to really make me invested in the comic. So that was sort of saddening to me because I was looking forward to that issue. And my number 1 for the bottom of the barrel was Batgirl's number 9. Now this one hits that a lot in that bottom bin area. As you know, sometimes it's just all over the place, but usually to mid-range to bottom. And Batgirl's number 9, I gave a 6.8. I thought the art once again failed to deliver. It's just, I don't dig the style. I realize that this book is probably not aimed for me. Okay, I get that. But I read this book to my girl, and she doesn't get it either. She didn't care for the art in this issue either, and she thought the story was okay at best, and we both thought that the dialogue was really a notch below what it usually is. It was pretty lame in this book, so it earns the 6.8. Yeah, 6.8. Alright, so there's ones I recommend you probably avoid. So let's look at the top of the heap, in my opinion. Then I'm going to give you, after the top, my thoughts on the ones that were in between. But before I get into that, if you don't mind, you like this channel, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It really, really, really helps out. And on top of that, you want to help out this channel. We are working hard to provide content for just the special subscribers. So if you subscribe to Subscribestar or Patreon, you get special videos and special perks. So you're going to get videos as well as special music that you can use to listen to on your phone, listen to whatever, use it as backing tracks for your videos, whatever you want in that regard. So you get that as well as bonus content videos. I'm also going to be putting in, I think, some guitar lessons too. So once again, this channel is about tech, comics, games, and music, and you're going to get all of that in free content. Also, you can help with just a one-time donation as well, or buying merch. So all those things help. Okay. I know you're going, okay, that's enough of that. And you're right. Let's move on to the top 3 books. So my number 3 out of the top 3, if you will, was Amazing Spider-Man number 7. Now I know I'm going to get some heat on this one. I gave it a 7.35. Once again, that's Amazing Spider-Man number 7. Excuse me there. I think the story's moving forward, and that's what I like about this. It's a good pace. The art was okay. You know, I'm not a big fan of this artist, to be honest with you, but I tend to like him when he's on Spider-Man. I've seen him in Captain America and lots of other books. It just Romita Jr. doesn't do it for me in a lot of books, but for some reason I like his work on Spider-Man, so I liked it on this one. I think this book did a good job of making the Vulture a threat. I think that really bumped this book up a little bit for me, because I never really see Vulture as much of a threat to Spider-Man, but this one, he came out there brutal and mad, and I thought, wow, that's pretty cool, and I really thought that bumped this book up. So once again, that was Amazing Spider-Man's number 7 with a 7.35. Now the next one, this one quite well surprised me too. My number 2 pick was Captain America Sentinel of Liberty number 3. You know, I'm really fearful that they're going to really drop the ball on this Captain America series. They really have been doing Steve Rogers more damage than justice for a long time. But I gave this book a 7.37. Yeah, I was really quite surprised on this book. Pleasantly surprised. I liked the art style in it. I thought it looked good. I feel that the story is interesting, and I don't tend to like it when they mess with characters' backgrounds. You know, they retrench it and try to twist it around to make a deep story, and they usually do more damage to the character than good. For example, Punisher. Right now, I sure hope they're not making this story gonna stick. Well, anyway, I thought the enemy, though, in this Captain America book was a bit lame. He looks a bit lame, but otherwise he's pretty cool, with exception of the looks. So go, take that as you will. I give this book once again a 7.37. I'm digging in. I'm hoping they don't screw this up, but only time will tell, and it's Marvel, so I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. All right, and the next one, the number 1. This one surprised me. This is, I think, a trial that Marvel's been doing. Marvel's been doing a lot of throwback issues with more of the past styles, as well as hiring writers and some artists from the past that they haven't used in a long time. And this one was Venom Lethal Protector number 5. And I just, and I'm the kind of person that doesn't, just for the record, does not care for Venom as a hero very much. I liked him as a psychotic nut job. But anyway, this book I gave a 7.6 out of 10. Once again, I'm not a fan of Venom as a hero, if you will. And there's some reason this issue just worked for me. I can't really put my finger on it. I've enjoyed the story. I just thought it was fun. And you know what? I think you should check it out too. And the art has been solid through every issue up to this point. So once again, it was fun. It was an interesting story. I'm a sucker for Taskmaster when they do them right as well. So we had that involved. We had Justin Hammer, a bunch of D-list villains. Maybe that's what I like. Sometimes I like it when they dig out the D-list and just throw them in there as fodder and a little bit of fun, because you just don't see those characters much, and I really, really enjoyed it. All right, so let's look at the middle of the pack, the few that didn't make it. One was Future State Gotham, number 16. I gave a 7.3 out of 10. This one's been in the upper echelon a lot lately. This one wasn't bad either. It was a fun battle, and it's an interesting story, but to be honest, this issue was a little predictable. So that's what took it down a little bit. Another one I read was Avengers Number 57, which is a 7.05 out of 10. I tell you, when I read Avengers, I want to read the Avengers. I don't want to hear about a bunch of side characters and then just a little bit of Avengers in there. I mean, really, this book isn't quite as bad as washing your nut sack with sandpaper, but it's not really high up there on the list either. I'm just not into this story. It's just, once again, this book needs to focus on the Avengers. The reason people buy the book, not for all these other characters. They're spin-off versions of the characters. I'm sick of multiverse stuff, but maybe it's just me. And the art continues to be okay. Nothing spectacular, but serviceable. In other words, okay. Which means this book has failed to go to the upper echelons. It usually lands in the middle to, okay section, and that's just really not enough. All right, now this one I thought was going to hit the bottom of the bin. Probably was really close to it. And that's Captain Carter number 505. With that said, I'm glad that this is the final issue of this mini-series. I give it a 7.04 because, well, first of all, the art has been a mixed bag all the way through and never great. So some panels, it's really crappy. I mean, really bad. And some panels, it's like, okay. And really, the ending was okay at best. It wasn't anything super special. The story was pretty predictable. It just wasn't that good. It's like, why bother making this story? There just wasn't anything, no wow moments. It was just a meh. And why spend your money on meh when you could buy something actually good? Now, the next one here I want to mention, this one's a tough call for me. Okay, I really struggled with this one. It was Punisher number 5, where I gave it a 7.2 out of 10. This is easily a book to hate, but also easily to enjoy depending on your view. I think the art has been solid in this series, and this issue doesn't buck that trend. It still stays good. But here's the thing. I still hope that this altered backstory ends up being all fake, like mystical implanted in his memories, in Frank's memory or something of that nature. If that's the case, I can get by this story. But if they make this actual canon, that's part of the story part, I hate it. Don't screw with the character's past because you don't like what the character represents or whatever it may be, whatever motivation they have, because you know Punisher right now has lots of political motivation for changing the symbol, and now we have Ares wearing the symbol of Punisher about to fight Punisher, which I think is pretty cool there. I'm looking forward to that. I just don't know what to think of this book though, so if they go the route of making this his background, hate it. Just for the record, I would lower every score on every one of the Punisher books probably by 5. Which make all of them garbage, throwaway, offensive. But if this is just a twist in the story, it really wasn't his back story, they were messing with him, fine, I can deal with that. Alright, well that's my notes. Those are the 10 issues I read. What did I miss that I should have read? What should I be checking out? I would love to hear your thoughts. Once again, thank you for sticking out this video with me. I appreciate it. This channel, we struggle to get a lot of views because YouTube hates us in the analytics, and you know, I don't have time to pump out tons of videos every day like they like, especially long ones. It's just not there for us. We do what we can, so we need you to support us in any way you can. And speaking of support, I want to thank all these people right here. Without these people here, these videos would not be possible. So really, they are the true supporters of this channel. Without them, boy, I'd be lost. Thank you everyone for your time. Greatly appreciate it. Until next time, keep it frugal.